All of a sudden, we've got a 90-day rally on our hands, or is it? Today, we'll break it down for you. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back into Tech Path. I want to thank our sponsor today, and that is Coinbase. As the market has been depressed over the last couple of weeks, this might be the spot where you get a chance to start your crypto journey. And the way you do that is go over to Coinbase.com using our link down below. And the markets are on the move as we're actually talking about this. Let's go to our first clip here. This kind of explains what's happening. Take a look.
Two major developments. I'm going to go first that the president says he is authorizing a 90-day pause and substantially lowering the reciprocal tariff during this period of 10% effective immediately. There's some fuzzy language here. The upshot is that there's a 90-day pause in the reciprocal tariff. What I'm not clear on is whether we go to zero during that time or to back where we were, or if the 10% tariff remains in place. Either way, a major step forward. The president says that this is because more than 75 countries have called representatives of the United States. Negotiations are ongoing, and so he's instituting this 90-day pause in the meantime. On the other hand, some negative news on China, saying that based on the lack of respect that China has shown to the world's markets, he's raising the tariff on China to 125%. That's, of course, up from the 104% that took effect just at midnight, now going even higher to 125% because he does not like the way China has been retaliating rather than coming to the United States and wanting to negotiate. So two major step forwards here. One, obviously, very good for the markets. You're seeing the markets react to that. The other one on China, looking like, they don't like the lack of respect that they see. So we are looking at a world in which things continue to get worse.
All right, so there you go, guys. This is head-to-head with China. And let me kind of explain this, because this is a negotiation tactic that is used a lot in business, actually, because a lot of times businesses have allies. In other words, you can go sell to someone else, you can buy from someone else. That's kind of the position that China was in, or believes that they were in, because the whole world was getting hit with tariffs. Now, most of the countries have said, hey, we're willing to negotiate. We realize that. They've come to the negotiation table. Trump has rewarded them and instead has pressured China now to become on an island and have to go head-to-head with the United States, and now maybe the rest of the world. So all this plays into it. Kind of ironic that Trump put out a tweet on Trump Social right there. This is a great time to buy. This was this morning, guys, at 9:30, before we saw this. So just saying, maybe sometimes you actually literally have to take this guy at his word. Let's go over to a couple other things. Trump is now raising the tariff on China to 125%. This, of course, is in retaliation over China's early morning hit, which caused a lot of market turmoil. The question is this a constructed plan by the Trump White House? I think a lot of people are watching this, and this is where Secretary Bessent came in and said this was President Trump's strategy all along to goad China into a bad position. So now they are in a bad position, and all of that started because of this right here, the 84% tariffs on U.S. goods in a showdown with Trump. So of course, Europe also hits back, and of course now that most likely will come off the headline because Europe may be in a position where they can start negotiating a deal. Also, China's central bank asked state-owned banks now to reduce the dollar purchases. This is a big deal because it will start to put pressure on treasuries and bonds. And as we see the market play out, one of the things that will maybe start to retaliate is how does the yuan, the digital yuan, respond? And that's the big factor right now. It may be now in a free-for-all for whether or not we see China start to really go into a little bit of a recession. Maybe they actually hit a recession first. Let me go to this next clip, because this is what Bessent is talking about with China. Take a look.
They are the worst offenders in the international trading system. They have the most imbalanced economy in the history of the modern world. And I can tell you that this escalation is a loser for them.
Are you willing to go that far to remove Chinese stocks from U.S. exchanges?
Maria, I think everything's on the table. We are putting in process export controls for high-value security-related goods. But that'll be President Trump's decision. And you know what, Maria? At the end of the day, President Trump, Chairman Xi have a very good personal relationship, and I am confident that this will be resolved at the highest levels.
All right, so there you can kind of see Bessent, again, this is the thing we talked about yesterday. This is a different kind of cabinet that's sitting in Washington right now. They run in a different theme. They're not looking at politics really. I think they're looking at winning, and this may be the factor in which is being played out between the Trump administration and Xi Jinping. Of course, you have to look at the Federal Reserve, and many people saying the Fed's not going to cut rates this year. This comes in from Morgan Stanley. Others believe, though, that that may not necessarily be the case. JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon says the U.S. recession is now the likely outcome of Trump's trade war. Now, whether or not he thinks this 90-day pause, but if you back up and say, well, wait a minute, if the rest of the world comes to an amicable agreement on where this goes in terms of tariffs, and it's only China who has the outlandish, trade deficit comparison, as you heard Bessent say right there, that really all Trump was after, that would be a little different of a play toward a recession. I don't necessarily think the markets would mind that going head to head like that, as long as we're not creating kind of a global tariff war. Let's take a look at the Fed rate cut, though. Right now, still on the rise on poly market, which is holding at almost, what do we got here? 93% right now on a Fed rate cut in 2025. That's not a hard bet to take. I think I would take that one. I believe it would happen. All right, so as of this morning, the fear and greed chart was actually at 3, and it's already moved at time of recording to 16. By the time you get this video, it's possible we could be over 20 or possibly 25, moving into the fear zone, which could be the loosening in the market. Now, if this 90-day holds out and Trump says, hey, we've come to agreements with the world on tariffs, and it's only China, look for some market rips for sure. Let's take a look at some other things. The crypto fear and greed, not necessarily responding that much, even though I will show the charts here in a minute. That is responding in a big way. Other factors that are playing into this is, of course, the impact of tariffs. And this is where we're going to get into potential price gouging. And Senator Warren actually goes after this topic. Now, granted, if all of a sudden the tariffs are off, then it's very difficult for price gouging to occur. But if it were to occur outside of China and the Chinese products that are coming in, take a look at this next clip. See what you guys think.
This is almost like part 2. Remember our last conversation. Now you got another way to say that corporations are doing that. But then inflation came down. It seems like the corporations only gouge when you say they're gouging, and then they're unable to at other times.
So I know you don't want to listen to me on this, but listen to Jerome Powell on this. The example he gave on Friday was from the last time that Trump's tariffs went into effect. And he said there was a tariff on washing machines. No surprise, the price of washing machines went up. But the shocking part is the price of dryers went up as well, even though there was no imposition of tariffs on those. You tell me what that is, except for price gouging. Price doesn't go up on dryers. The cost of dryers didn't go up.
Growing up.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Good times. Yeah.
Totally.
My
And
grandma.
I love the smell.
I love the way you're changing the subject
Changing the
here.
subject.
That is an example
They told
of
me
price
we had,
gouging.
They told
I
me
think
we
it's
had
time
less than
for
a
you
minute.
to eat
They
that.
said-
Now they say we can keep it
Now
going.
we can keep it
Oh,
going.
now we can keep
I don't want to keep
going.
it going.
Good.
No, Senator,
I'll bet you don't.
All right, so you can kind of get Warren, not necessarily a crypto love affair, but definitely fighting for American consumers out there. I want to go into further into the strategy, though, with Trump and how he may play this hand that he's dealing with Xi Jinping, and how China can get to the table, because it appears that the rest of the world is now at the table in terms of negotiations. Here's Kevin O'Leary. He says he has a way.
This is not about tariffs anymore. Nobody has taken on China yet, not the Europeans, no administration for decades. As someone who actually does business there, I've had enough. I speak for millions of Americans who have IP that have been stolen by the Chinese. I have nothing against the Chinese people. You may not like Trump, you may not like his style or his rhetoric. Finally, an administration that puts up and says enough. Xi can only stay the supreme leader if people are employed. If we wipe out any business there, because we are still 39% of all consumables on Earth and 25% of the world's GDP, America is the #1 economy on earth with all the cards. We will not have that forever. It's time to squeeze Chinese heads into the wall now.
Can they withstand the pressure of that sort of tax on the goods?
It's short-lived. There will be.
But what's your timeline compared to, you don't know the average American's timeline, what they can actually survive. There's people right now who can't survive
400% tomorrow morning, cheese on an airplane to Washington to cut a deal.
All right, that would do it, I think, is that kind of outlandish number. And of course, we already saw this with Trump this morning, actually implementing now 125% tariffs. So again, Trump also is pushing for another angle on the market, and that is through this tax cut bill, which he's saying, get the bill passed now, the country will boom. And of course, this will start to generate, you know, if you believe trickle-down economics, et cetera. Arthur Hayes hits on a couple of points right here. The Fed is on the clock. Things are breaking down. Stocks down, 10-year yield down, good. And also stocks down, 10-year yield up, bad. That's kind of what we're seeing. And if you look at the market finally realizing this, whether or not we see this occur in this year is the real big question. Again, this new tariff pause could change Powell's position very quickly. It also could change markets in a very quick way because Trump does have a very unusual way to move the market quickly both directions. Here's Peter Schiff. Trump's secret agenda is to crash the stock market to bring it down long-term interest rates. Plan already failed. Yield on the 30-year Treasury is 4.7, et cetera, since February. And then the plan to crash the stock market is now crashing the bond market. Now, if that is the case, though, if we do see a flip and we do see this reprieve, all of this would be off the table. And that is a big factor that we're dealing with right now. Because if you look at the way this has been constructed, you could compare this to other past cycles. Here's Raoul Powell. He says, it feels a lot like back in December 2018. For those who are around, Powell signaled a pivot. I think we get the same, plus a trade resolution with China. That's going to happen. And then risk in stocks feel like 10% down, but a max up at about 15 in a couple of weeks, and 25% in a month or two. So that would be a significant return on the markets if we continue to see that kind of rally. And maybe today, this day, is the beginning of it. So where are you guys positioned? Let me know in the comments down below. We'll take a look at the charts. I do want to kind of wrap up on this point right here because this is Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. He announces the focus on regulatory challenges for blockchain, stablecoins, and new payment system. So he understands this. They're going to drill down on this and get it done. Only more good news for blockchain where this is going. A lot going on right now, guys. Let me go over to the charts real quick just to show you Bitcoin is holding right now at 82, which is up almost 8% on the day at time of recording. Let's take a look at Solana up 12 right now, trading at $118. SWI up to 225, up 17%. Ondo up 22% on the day. And of course, the XRP token rising 13% on the day. All of this, guys, just because of what we're seeing with this 90-day pause. Let me know how you guys are trading the market. Drop some comments down below. Make sure and get in on the Diamond Circle. It is our special place where you guys can join, get in on our weekly emails. And if you guys want to talk to me directly, you can do that in our Telegram group. We only have one. Always leave a link down below. Check it out. Use me over on X, which is just @PaulBaron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.